Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be doing a book on haul. Basically, I'm going to be donating all of these books because I either don't think I'm going to read them or just didn't like them. Or I've read and I prefer to donate it and just give them to another person so they can read them. So I have, I think, like 30 something books here. Like there are quite a few books. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so I get notified when I upload more videos. And I also wanted to remind you guys that I am doing a Kindle giveaway on my last video, which was a book shopping vlog. So make sure to participate. You guys have until October 31st to participate. There's going to be one winner, so make sure to go and participate. And I'm going to leave all of these books in a local coffee shop that is like one of my favorite coffee shops that has bookshelves for people to read, so like used books that you can pick up and you can get a coffee and read a book. So I personally love that. I'm gonna try to vlog my trip there. And I quickly wanted to mention that I don't have anything against these authors or their books by any means. It's just what I explained in the beginning. So let's get started. Okay, let's start with this pile. I have 3 different piles. You can't really see them because of the camera angle. Okay, so the first book is The Vine Witch. So this one screams spooky season. So I'm so glad that I'm donating it right now because someone is gonna still have time to read it until October 31st and have those like Halloween vibes, you know? Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna read this book. I did buy this book last year, but I've had it for a year. I think it's been like almost exactly a year. I've had it for a year. I haven't read it. I haven't picked it up. So I think it's safe to say that I'm probably not going to read this book. The next one is also so glad that I'm leaving it because it's for the winter season, the holidays. Holiday season is Blame It on the Mistletoe by Beth Garrett. I've had this for a while, like maybe 2 winters now, and I never read it because last year I practically didn't even read in December, and the year before that I did read, but I just didn't pick this one up. And I don't think I'm gonna pick it up, so I'm going to donate it. But honestly, it looks like a cute winter holiday season romance story. Okay, the next one that I have here is Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. So this one I am donating because I didn't like the writing style. So I do remember starting to read this one for a TBR video and I had to DNF it because the writing style was just not for me. It was kind of like those type of writing styles that are too detailed. Like the character is explaining every single little thing in such minuscule detail and it got really annoying for me. So I know that I'm not going to read this. Okay, the next one is actually a book that I think I would read in the future, but I don't think I'm going to pick it up anytime soon. But it's The Librarian Spy. And yeah, I tend to not pick up books about like World War I or II because it's just a really harsh topic. I never get in the mood to read like a historical fiction or a book about like World War I or II, so I know that I'm probably not going to pick this one up anytime soon, but if one day I do get into the mood, I know that this one exists. Okay, next one is Omen of Ice, and I've had this for a while. I don't even know what this book is about, and I know that I'm probably not going to read it. It looks like a mystery suspense thriller kind of thing, but from what I just read, it's actually about fae, so there's magic and it's a fantasy, so I know someone's gonna enjoy it. It's like in perfect condition also. Okay, the next one is Breaking All the Rules. This one, it looks like a rom-com kind of thing, like an actual funny rom-com. I don't know why, but with the cartoon here, it just gives me the main character is gonna be very funny. But again, I don't think I'm gonna read this anytime soon, so. Okay, next one, I have a book that I've had for also a while. It's The Valkyrie's Daughter. This one is another one that I think I would read in the future. It looks very interesting, don't get me wrong. Like it looks like a good book. It's a fantasy. I think it's a YA fantasy book. This gives me like the Valkyries and Thor kind of vibes, you know what I mean? So I'm sure it's a good book. The next one I have here is Shadow of Light. This also seems like a fantasy book. This gives me kind of like Percy Jackson vibes, the first movie, because it's like Percy Jackson, the lightning thief. I don't know why, it just gives me those vibes. But still don't think I am going to pick it up anytime soon. Next one is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. This is a Reese's Book Club pick. I've only read maybe one book from the Reese's Book Club picks, but I can't remember. But this just doesn't really grab my attention. Doesn't really make me want to actually pick it up and read it. Okay, the next two books that I have here I actually read. So the first one is The Nature of Witches. I did like this book. I think I gave it like 3.8 or 4 stars. Can't remember exactly, but it was part of the TBR series and I did enjoy this book, but I think it wasn't like one of my favorite books ever, and I feel like I wouldn't really miss it in my bookshelf. I'm gonna donate this one. And the next one that I'm also gonna donate but also liked is Fresh by Margaret Wood. This one is a college, it's a very funny book. It's about a girl that is fresh out of high school that goes to college, and it's like the college experience. It's a very funny book. You get the college experience, and overall it was a good time, but again, I have the same feelings as the other one. Let's bring this stack over here. Next book that I have here is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This is actually a repeat, so I actually do have this book. I have this book in a hardcover, but either way I haven't read it. But I do want to read it sometime, so I do have the other book. So next one is Be the Girl by K.A. Tucker. This one is also a book that doesn't really scream pick me up and read me. I don't know how to explain it. It just hasn't been a book that has like caught my attention throughout the months, because I've had this book for months. Okay, next one is, I feel like it's also kind of a historical fiction kind of thing. It's The Audrey Hepburn Estate. And this is like, historical fictions are not my like favorites. I'm not saying this one is a historical fiction because I really don't know. I'm just saying it because it kind of gives me those vibes, but ignorant me, I could be wrong. It hasn't really caught my attention over the past few years, I think, that I've had this, but I feel like it would be a very good book to read in a coffee shop. So that's gonna be cool for someone. Okay, the next one that I have here is Sweet Sexy Heart. And this one just seems like a cute rom-com, but I haven't been really excited to pick it up and read it, so it just doesn't really grab my attention, although the cover is pretty. Next one is a book that I actually already read. I think I read this also for the TBR series, is The Buy-In by Emma St. Clair. I did like this book. I don't remember my rating for this book, but like the same as the other one, I liked it, but it's not like one of my favorite books that I would want to keep forever and ever. So I'm gonna give this one away. So this one is funny because I've had this book since, like, I think, I'm not exaggerating, like maybe 7th grade, 6th grade maybe. It's unbelievable. It's one of the Pretty Little Liars books. It's funny because I went to that coffee shop one day and I saw that they had some of the Pretty Little Liar books. I think they don't have this one, so I'm going to bring this one. And I know I'm not going to read this book because I've had it since middle school and I haven't read it. Okay, next one is I Love It When You Lie, and this one just seems like a mystery book with like maybe a thriller. Kind of screams like a thriller, maybe a murder mystery or something. But again, don't think I'm gonna read it anytime soon. I don't know, I feel like I'm very selective when it comes to reading mystery books or like suspense / thrillers. So the next one is The Witches of Moonshine Manor. And this one obviously about witches for the spooky season, so it's gonna be perfect to leave over there. But I read the back of the book of this book and it just didn't really caught my attention. I don't think I'm gonna read this book. Like, the actual story just doesn't seem something that I would like to read. Okay, the next book is a book that I read as well. It's Alex Approximately, and this one was not my favorite. I remember reading this one also for the TBR series, and it was just it was not for me. I think it was dragged out a little too much maybe, and like the storyline was just not my favorite thing. And the last pile of books, I'm going to hope this doesn't fall. Okay, the next two books that I just know that I'm not gonna read these. To be honest, I bought them in a book fair, and I don't know why, because I don't really read books in Spanish. Not because I don't like the language or anything, it's my first language, but personally I prefer reading books in English, and I feel more comfortable when I read books in English. So I have two books by Alice Gellin that I'm going to be giving away. They're literally brand new. Todo lo que nunca fuimos y otra vez tú. The next one is The Book Haters' Book Club. This actually does seem like a book that I would want to read, but I've had it for a long time and I've never picked it up, so I think I should make a rule at this point. If I don't read a book at a certain like time frame, I should give it away. Okay, same with the next book, Meant to Be by Emily Giffin. I just know that I'm not gonna read this book. Okay, the next one is A Love by Design by Elizabeth Everett. This one screams like, imagine Bridgerton. Obviously a different story, but those vibes and that time. And I did start reading this book this year actually, and I DNF'd it. I just did not like it. I really did not like the writing style. It was very confusing. There were so many names. People had so many names, different names. It was very confusing for me. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it was not a good experience, so I just DNF'd it. Okay, next one is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. To be honest, this book seems so good. Like, don't get me wrong, this book actually seems so freaking good. And I know a lot of people love it, but I've had it for so long. Same as the next one, I've had Lease on Love for so long, and I think the reason why I haven't read this book is because over time I've seen like a lot of mixed opinions, mixed reviews about this book, and it just kind of been throwing me off. So I don't think I'm gonna read it. The next one is The Charm Offensive by Addison Cochrane. I do like this author. I've read a book by this author and I liked it. It has never been in my TBR, like I haven't picked it up. Next one is The Social Climber, which screams Anna Delvey, but I'm never really in the mood to read something like that. Like, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The Social Climber, I think it's gonna be pretty self-explanatory, but it's really not a book that catches my attention. Next one is The Second First Chance. Same with this one. Like, the cover is one of the most beautiful covers. I've said this a bunch of times, but I have never read it and I don't think I will. So I really hope someone likes the book. Okay, this next one was so sad. Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I actually tried reading this book a few weeks ago. Like, this is recent. I loved Every Summer After by this author, but when I started reading this book, you guys, I could not do it. I didn't like the story. I didn't like certain parts, or a lot of blurred lines. The storyline was not my favorite, and I just did not really like the story or like the beginning of the story. So I just DNF'd it. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. Like, I couldn't imagine like pushing through the book and just reading it. I couldn't. Next one is Back in a Spell. Spooky vibes, witches, magic, all that jazz. Perfect for the spooky season. Next one is also a book that I think I started maybe in 2021. Like, it's been a while, and I remember I read a few pages and I stopped reading it because it didn't really caught my attention. It's Marriage for One by Ella Mays, which is sad because I did like her other books, but every time I see this book in my shelves, I just avoid it. I don't know why exactly, but it's just a book, like, it's a chunky book, it's pretty big, like, I don't think I'm gonna read it. I just feel like I don't want to read it. Okay, we have two books left. The next one is Unlikely Match. It's a transplant romance, and to be honest, I just feel like transplant romances are always kind of sad, and maybe this is not sad and I'm being completely wrong, but I don't like the feelings. And the last book that I have here is The Secret Book of Flora Lee by Patty Callahan Henry. I've also had this book for a while and it does seem interesting, but after reading the entire synopsis and really thinking, like, are you gonna read this book? And I told myself, no, you're probably not. That is basically my explanation, and those are all the books that I'm going to be giving to. I go to that coffee shop so much and I just love to see those books, so it's gonna be so cool to see my books on the shelves. It's gonna be so cool. But if you live in Panama, it's gonna be Atanasio de Costa del Este. No sé cuándo los voy a llevar, pero va a ser Atanasio de Costa del Este. Y tienen libreros llenos de libros que creo que la gente dona. Entonces pregunté hace poquito y me dijeron que sí podía donar, así que los voy a donar a Atanasio de Costa del Este. Okay, besties, that is the book on haul. Those are all the books that I'm unhauling from my bookshelves, donating, and I'm so glad that I am, because I feel like they need a new home. But anyways, if you've been an author or publishing house that has sent me any of these books, please know that I am very, very grateful that I had the opportunity to receive them and read them, but I feel like they need a new house. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!